Ready to really dig deep into the best ways to start a new chapter of your life.
Yeah,
We're going way beyond just like surface level advice today, you know,
absolutely.
getting down into the nitty gritty.
Uh-huh.
With this article I found called 15 Powerful Tips to Start a New Chapter in Life. It's from a website called Tickled Think.
Well,
And this piece really resonated with me um, because it acknowledges those messy feelings,
right.
the fear, the overwhelm, maybe even like a little bit of heartbreak that comes with change.
It's so true.
Change is rarely comfortable.
Yeah, even when it's a change we've chosen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the author of this article even shares a personal story about facing a sudden life shift back in 2022.
Oh,
And I was
yeah.
reading that and I immediately thought, wow, so many people must feel this way. Have you noticed that in your own work?
All the time.
Yeah.
That common thread of unease when someone's stepping into the unknown, it's almost universal.
Yeah.
I think that's why the article's emphasis on self-compassion resonated with me so much. We would never tell a friend to just ignore those difficult emotions, right? We'd offer support and understanding, so why not extend that same kindness to ourselves?
It's like we forget that we deserve that same level of empathy,
Yeah.
especially when we're the ones going through it.
Right.
Okay, so this article is packed with practical tips.
Yeah.
But the one I kept coming back to was this idea of creating a new routine.
Hmm.
It sounds so simple, but I'm curious, like, how powerful can that really be for someone who is trying to navigate a major life change?
It can be incredibly grounding.
Yeah.
Think of a routine as the scaffolding around a new building.
Okay.
When so much in your life feels uncertain, a routine provides structure, and that frees up mental space to actually tackle the other challenges that come with the new chapter.
That makes so much sense. It's almost like it reduces decision fatigue
Exactly.
because all those everyday choices are already made.
Yes, and within that framework, there's room for flexibility.
Okay.
Like if hitting the gym at 6 a.m. sharp isn't realistic for you right now, that's totally fine. Right.
The key is finding what works for your life in your new chapter.
So it's not about finding the perfect routine. It's
Uh-uh.
about finding one that supports you in this moment.
Yes.
I like that. Now, speaking of things that might need a refresh, the article also talks about letting go of toxic habits.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on how someone can actually do that?
Right.
Is it as simple as just deciding to stop?
Oh, I wish it were that easy.
Right.
I do like how the article frames it, though.
Okay.
It's not about judging yourself for past choices. It's about consciously choosing to leave behind what no longer serves you.
I love that framing.
Yeah.
It's so much more empowering than just focusing on the negative.
Right.
And it ties in beautifully with the article's advice about revisiting your goals.
Yes.
It makes you wonder, if you did let go of those habits that are holding you back, what goals could you suddenly achieve?
That's a great question.
What habits are you ready to say thank you next to listeners? What could you accomplish if those weren't taking up your energy and attention? It's a question worth pondering sometimes. Simply identifying those habits is the first step towards creating real change.
It is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny because we often focus so much on the practical steps of starting a new chapter,
Mm-hmm.
setting goals or like we were just talking about creating routines.
Right.
But this article also dives into something a little bit deeper. Self-love and gratitude.
Yes. Those are so essential.
Yeah.
I think they often get overlooked. It's easy to get swept up in the stress of change, but cultivating self-love and gratitude can really shift your perspective.
I completely agree with you, but sometimes those concepts can feel a little abstract.
Yeah.
Like, what does self-love actually look like in everyday life?
Right. It can be surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Maybe it's taking a few minutes each day to just do something that you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah.
Whether that's, reading a book, listening to music, taking a walk in nature, or maybe it's about paying attention to your inner dialogue and challenging those negative self-criticisms that come up.
So instead of beating yourself up for a mistake, you'd offer yourself the same kind of understanding you would give to a friend.
Exactly.
Okay.
And gratitude can be just as powerful.
Yeah.
Imagine you're having a particularly tough day, right? Instead of dwelling on all of the challenges,
Uh-huh.
what if you just took a moment to acknowledge a few things that you're grateful for?
I like that.
Maybe it's a warm cup of coffee or a supportive friend, or even just the fact that you woke up healthy today.
Right. Shifting your focus to even those really small positive things can really change your outlook.
Absolutely.
All of this kind of ties back to something else that the article emphasizes, this idea of trusting the process.
Yeah.
But how do you trust the process when everything feels so uncertain?
That's a great question. I think it's about recognizing that you don't have to have all the answers right now. You
Okay.
don't need to know exactly how everything is going to unfold.
Right.
It's more about having faith in your own resilience and your ability to navigate the unknown.
So it's not about being passive. It's about believing in your own strength to kind of handle whatever comes your way.
Precisely. Think of it like learning a new skill, maybe playing a musical instrument.
Okay.
You're going to hit some sour notes along the way, but that doesn't mean you just give up.
Right.
You keep practicing, you learn from those mistakes, and eventually you start making beautiful music. And that feeling of mastery, that's the reward for trusting the process.
Okay, so we've covered acknowledging your feelings, creating routines, letting go of those old habits, cultivating self-love and gratitude, and trusting the process.
Yes.
What's next in our journey through this new chapter?
Well, the article concludes with what I think is the most crucial piece of advice, embracing change itself.
Ah, yes, the big one.
Yeah.
It's definitely easier said than done, right?
Yes.
Because change, by its very nature, means stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Yes.
And that can feel incredibly daunting.
It can be, but remember, we're talking about embracing change as a skill.
Okay,
And like any skill, it can be developed and strengthened over time.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not like some people are just born good at change
Right.
and others are doomed to struggle.
Uh-huh.
It's something we can actively work on.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more comfortable you become with this idea that change is not something to be feared,
Right.
but rather an inevitable part of life that can lead to incredible growth and new opportunities.
I love that. It's almost like reframing change from something scary to something exciting.
Yeah.
Now, this article doesn't shy away from the fact that starting a new chapter can feel like you're drowning sometimes.
Absolutely.
Those moments where everything feels so overwhelming and
Right.
you just don't know which way to turn.
Those feelings are completely valid.
Uh.
And in those moments, it's essential to remember that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Reaching out for support, whether it's from a trusted friend or a family member or even a therapist,
Uh-huh.
can be incredibly helpful.
It can.
Sometimes just talking about those feelings can really lighten the load.
So true. And sometimes a little inspiration can go a long way too. This article is sprinkled with some really powerful quotes.
Yeah.
And one that stood out to me was from Louis L'Amour.
Okay.
He said, "There will come a time when you believe everything is finished. That will be the beginning."
Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
It speaks to the cyclical nature of life, you know?
Yeah.
What may feel like an ending is often just the catalyst for a new beginning, a fresh start. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, it might just be the start of something truly extraordinary.
Yeah. It reminds me of that saying, when one door closes, another one opens.
Right.
But sometimes we're so focused on that door that just slams shut
Yeah.
that we don't even notice the new one that's right there waiting for us.
It's easy to get stuck in that mindset, especially when the change was unexpected or, unwanted.
Right.
But what if instead of resisting it, we tried to approach it with a sense of curiosity?
Yeah.
What opportunities might reveal themselves if we're open to exploring those new possibilities?
That is such a powerful shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of, what if this doesn't work out?
Right.
It's, what incredible things might I discover on this new path?
Exactly.
So for our listeners out there who are bravely, stepping into a new chapter, what's like one piece of advice that you'd like to leave them with?
Be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Change takes time. There's no need to rush the process or expect these overnight transformations. There will be ups and downs, moments of doubt, and times when you might feel like giving up.
Right.
But if you can be kind to yourself through those challenges, celebrate those small wins, and remember why you embarked on this journey in the first place,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
It's almost like giving yourself permission to stumble a bit,
Mm.
knowing that it's all part of the learning process.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to go it alone. Lean on your support system. Share your experiences with others who are going through similar transitions. And don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. There's strength in vulnerability and connection.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new toolbox for navigating change, and I hope our listeners feel the same way.
Me too. It's been a wonderful conversation. Remember, every ending is a new beginning. Embrace the possibilities, trust your instincts, and go create a chapter that's even more amazing than the last. And if you hit a bump in the road, that's okay. It just means you're on the right track.
Beautifully said. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this exploration of starting a new chapter. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What are you excited about? What challenges are you facing? Share your experiences, your wins, and even your struggles, because as we've learned today, we're all in this together. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep writing your story.